Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Minister of the Covenant, regular seven seals. Bringing up audience here. This is the Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Welcome. Sisters and brothers, Battle for the Planet 3. At least we forget the Holocaust. They are desperate to relieve you of the burden of the memory of your 400-year experience here. Desperate. Theory, critical race theory. It was slavery. Slave was everywhere. Get over it. That's the past. 400 years in the past. We've been making progress. So much progress we've made. All this bullshit. That's all it is. All the progress. Well, if you're such good people, why you got to progress to be good? That means you, by definition, you're not good. You're trying to be good. That's what I said. If you're making progress, you're making progress to your destination. That means you haven't got there yet. Isn't that what that means? So if you make progress to be good, that means you're not good yet. So how long we got to wait? Wait 400 years already. How much longer we got to wait? Why we got to wait at all? We need us to come over here. You drugs over here. Progress. Critical race theory. Nothing theoretical about what you did to us. Theory. See, you're downplaying and whitewashing everything. Trying to get out from under the consequence of your deeds. For the last 500 years, when you came out of the dark ages, bottomless pit, seeking to kill, steal, and destroy. Stole this land, kills inhabitants, and brought us over here and destroyed us as a people. We know who you did, but now you want to deny it. Oh, don't teach our children that critical race theory stuff. Why? It's your history. Your history. Why don't want to know about it? Why do you want us to forget it? They didn't want to tell us how we should feel about it. It was the Holocaust. No damn theory. It wasn't slavery. Slavery is just a small portion of it. Slavery is the economic part of it. Slavery does not include mass murder, does not include genocide, does not include rape, incessant, unrelenting rape, 400 years of rape, toddlers, children. Anything you get between their legs, you got there. Even rape the boys. That's how sick some of you are. The Holocaust. That look like slavery right there, what you're looking at? Look at the definition of slavery. Does that look like slavery? 24/7, 365, 400 years. That's 200 million or more of our people went through this. 400 years, unrelenting, horror, horrific. Don't let them keep telling you about some slavery stuff. The whitewash. So we're not going to let you forget. And right now you're in judgment. You're in judgment now. You don't see it. Some of you see it. So now you're trying to talk your way out of it. Oh, we're going to give you everything now. We love you. See, let's stop this division. Who brought the division? Who started the division? It's race hatred. Where did race hatred come from? Now, we the haters? We should be hating. If you don't hate because of what they did to us, then what are you going to hate for? You guys hating ourselves. See, it's all right to hate ourselves, but not to hate you. We're supposed to forgive you. For a good Christian, just forgive everything you did. See? Claim that's what Jesus would do. No, that's not what Jesus said he would do. He said he'd come and tear your ass up. He said he'd come with a sword. He'd come with division. See? He'd come and destroy. See? With justice. That's what he's coming with. To put you down. Read Abrahamic covenant. It says after the 400 years, he will come and judge this nation, not individuals, because that's, oh man, what's our ancestors? Well, your ancestors. If your ancestor was a hog, you'd be a hog. If your ancestor was a dog, you'd be a dog. You got the same identity as your ancestors, nothing different. If you think your ancestors were so bad, everything that was bad, then why don't you just pack up and go back to Europe and leave everything behind and give it back to the native people that it belongs to? If they did so bad, it's stolen property, that's your own law. If you receive stolen property knowingly, then you just guilt those people that stole it. You're trying to talk your way out of it. You're not going to talk your way out of it. See? You see, hell is closing on you. And every quarter, you catching hell. Nothing's working for you. Nothing has worked for you since 2020. 1619 to 2019. 40 years, read the Abrahamic covenant. Read the Abrahamic covenant. 1619 to 2019. That would be 40 years of slave and affliction. See, so in other words, affliction is not part of slavery. Otherwise, the covenant would say just slavery if that was incorporated in slavery. But it's what? It's something extra. You'll be punished for your affliction of us. And you want to call it slavery. Slavery is slavery is the economic side of it. The maximum, the capitalist dream. Maximum profit, minimum overhead. You got people out here slaving in Walmart and McDonald's and every place else. That's slavery. You're paying and you make a profit. Profit by definition is exploitation. Let's get the words right. That means you didn't get a person everything they earned. So you get part of it as profit. That's exploitation. Capitalist dream. All this is madness. This whole system is madness. But you selling it like this stuff cost another night. Come on. Christianity was the greatest force for human rights and human history. What the hell is that boy smoking over there? What the hell is he smoking? And Chrissy, it was Christian that ended slavery. What is that boy smoking over there? Who started slavery? Who started the Holocaust? Who started oppression? It wasn't the Muslims. It wasn't the Buddhists. It wasn't the Hindus. Come on, man, you ought to love Christians because they didn't want to stop. They didn't want to stop slavery. You didn't stop it anyway. You didn't stop because it was because you was in love with us. You stopped because you was going to Industrial Revolution. You didn't need us anymore. Because you threw us in a ditch. You didn't give us 4 acres and a mule. You didn't give us a place to stay. You didn't give us nothing. No reparations. No severance pay. Anything. North was tired of competing with slave labor. That's what that was all about. That's a fact. And you can easily check it out. Because we're still here on the plantation, ain't we? We're still walking under your names, ain't we? We're still under your law, ain't we? Our brothers and sisters and fathers and sons are in your prison, ain't they? Because they don't want to obey your laws. They don't want to obey your system. They don't want to do what you tell them to do. So we're still your fucking slaves. Excuse me. I'm going to say it like it has to be. Sometimes you have to use that damn word. But that's what we are. You don't like the way I talk. You should have brought me over here. You don't like the way I am. You should have brought me over here. I ain't asked you to come bring over here. You don't like the way I talk. Why'd you bring me over here for? Your time is over. And it says God's come with anger. He's come with anger. He's not coming with love and flowers and roses. He's coming to kick your ass. He's got a lot of 4-letter words for you. He says you're going to pay for everything you've done. As you have done, so shall be done to you. So guess you always talk about, man, I mean, it's pathetic. You always talk about, every time you arrest one of our brothers and sisters, what's your rap sheet? Let me see a rap sheet. What's your rap sheet, America? What is your rap sheet? Rape, murder, theft, genocide. On and on, and there's no limit. What's your rap sheet? Your days are over. You don't know it yet. Your days are over. You don't know it yet. You're going to find in a few more days. I mean days. I'm not talking about months and years. You're going to find out in a few more days if you haven't figured out by now. See? What's your rap sheet? You try to make like you, we capitalism brought more prosperity, took more people out of poverty than any other. Well, what are you smoking over there? You put the world into poverty. There was no poverty wherever you went. There was no disease wherever you went. People over here didn't even have as much as a common cold. You put the world into poverty. You're doing it right now, ripping off countries, taking their stuff, invading countries on bullshit, taking their property and everything else. Not to mention, you still guys here with your demons, your children, your black-faced children that you pouring over us and make everybody think that that's us. They're going to make us look like fools all over the world. That's your children from rape. We told that half the blacks in America are your children. They ain't us. They around you. They live in your house. What you call house Negroes? They live in your house. And all they want to do is keep us under subjection. You turn us into Negro butts 400 years ago. 64 years turned into Negro butts, totally programmed to do whatever you tell them to do, what we're told to do, right? To love you, not to think, self-destruct. That's what you did. Took everything away from us, everything. You turn us into beasts. Because that's what you are, beasts. That's what beasts can do. That. If you was angels, you would turn into angels. But you turn into beasts, what you call niggers. So you must be the big nigger because you can tell by the product, by the manufacturer. You can tell a lot about the manufacturer by the product it produces. So if you don't like what you produce, then why are you producing it? Because if you was angels, you would produce angels. But we clean this up now. See, it's the battle for the planet. And you've taken it and put us in a situation where we don't even know we're the creators anymore. You did a job on us. See? What you don't know is that you can't win. You can't win. Because there's such things called consequence. Consequence. You ever heard of that consequence? You ever heard of consequence? You know what consequence is? See? You tell our people, all they got to do is believe in Jesus, no consequence. That's all they got to do is believe in Jesus, no consequence. That's the biggest lie ever told. But consequence is the fundamental principle of the universe. Everything is based on consequence. Every action has an equal reaction. See? So you thought you was getting away with all you was doing? The consequence caught up with you. And you can't destroy a consequence. And you can tell people all kinds of stuff. Well, Jesus died for our consequence, and okay, go with that. But why you catching hell all over the planet? Why is everything backfiring on you? You couldn't even beat those goat herders over in Afghanistan 20 years. You couldn't beat the rice farmers out there in Vietnam. Koreans forced you to a stalemate. And now you're talking about you want to go up against Russia? See? We know what that's all about. But this thing over in Ukraine, don't let nobody fool you, brothers and sisters. That is not the beginning of Armageddon. That falls under the category of wars and rumors of wars. The main war is going to take place in the Middle East. That's what's going to kick off Armageddon. Armageddon is a European war. But it's the battle for the planet. That's what it's all about. Because right now, they're at odds with the planet. You see what the scripture tell you. Those that hurt the earth, God's come to destroy them. And who's hurting the earth? Who's hurting the earth? Who turned the earth into an industrial complex? Polluting it with all this false technology. Who's doing that? Or you got to ask yourself the question, who's doing that? See, you're so far removed, we're so far removed from our reality. We begin this decline 50,000 years ago. We're so far removed from we don't even know who we are anymore. They separated the creator from the creation. Now you think all that stuff out there, some mystery God did it. You did it. And you're going to come to that reality in a minute. In a minute. So will nation be born in a day? You're coming to You're coming to term, brothers and sisters. The water is about to break. Master Muhammad is going to break the water. When that water breaks, brothers and sisters, you coming forth. Quick, overnight. That's going to check shock waves to the world. One shock wave after another. Abomination desolation is one of the biggest shock waves, and then your rise is another shock wave. They're not going to be able to keep up with them. You know, like a woman having babies, having pregnant. I mean, she's in birth. When she's giving birth, they keep saying the pains coming one after another, whatever. No, I'm not a woman, so I can't. I mean, I got children, right? That's where it's coming on this world. You already see it. You already see all the signs already. Food shortages, they already warn you. If they tell you about me, it's much worse than it is. Food shortages, political unrest, social unrest. They can't even get the definitions anymore. They don't know what a woman is. They don't know the man, the man and woman. You go, man going to the women's bathroom, a man going, where they put tampons. I mean, they're going, because their mind is being crushed, confused. Confusion, that's why I call it Babylon. They're going crazy because they're under intense pressure. They're being crushed. The pressure is overwhelming. They're going to take you with them if they can. 1619 to 2019. It's in there. 20 years. They claim that's false Israel over there. 20 years. They never went through that. They told Jesus they never went through that kind of stuff. Jesus said, no, the truth shall make you free. They won't. We never been in prison with anybody. They said, well, you ain't even see Abraham anyway. You're a bunch of liars. You're father of the devil. They have no proof, but we got proof. We've been here 40 years. 1619, 29. That's why we're not trying to critical race theory. They're trying to put stuff on the rug. See? 1619, 2019. Then it says, God would judge them in the first. There'd be 10 plagues. The first plague would be to kill the firstborn and pass over us. Which means the firstborn, that's the elderly. When it passed over us. And that's exactly what happened. 2020 came in exactly like it says. And after they knew that, they knew it very clearly. They want to make sure you don't know it, because they start saying, oh man, you dying like flies. It's hurting you more than anybody else. All you got to do is go check World Health Organization, Google it. They tell you right there. They took it published it a few months ago. That virus wasn't affecting Black America. It wasn't affecting Haiti or no other place where Black folks rule or reside. But it was dropped like flies. That was a lie. Because they didn't want you to see. As far as Israel was catching it worse than anybody else. It was passing over us. I'm 73 and I never got it. I ain't wearing no mask, none of that stuff. I'm constantly out. I go to the gym all the time. Every day. Because they're all a big lie. See? The battle for the planet, brothers and sisters, but they know they in trouble. Because they've been in trouble from every side. They're in trouble from from every quarter, from this false reality they built to the biological system. This biological system is totally against them. They know they can't. That's why they're talking about climate change, all that kind of stuff. They're causing all that stuff. All the weather differentials, that's probably we're causing that, but that's another story altogether. See? So that's a pressure, weather's a pressure differentials. But you don't understand that because you don't understand your nature yourself and nature now. But thought is the most powerful pressure in the universe. And we are the most powerful people in the universe. Thought is the most powerful people in the universe. Thought is the most powerful force in the universe. Thought is pressure. And now we got a pressure differential because they kept us on their level of pressure, right? For 400 years or lower. And now we're rising, only a few so far. And that's causing the pressure differential, only a few. Which things will happen when thousands dies? You have a pressure differential that you never saw. That's why I'm telling you the weather's going to be so dramatic. But you don't understand that yet, see, because that's way beyond you. Oh, man, come on. We control it. Okay. You're going to see. It's affecting you right now. And the thing is, is that all your power is based on what? All your power is based on what? All your power is based on what? The weather. You can't fly your planes in bad weather. You can't shoot your missiles in really bad weather. You can't target them, right? You can't fight in really bad weather. Your boats out there, if the seas is really bad, you can't sail. You depend on the weather. And we control the weather. You're going to find them in. The Quran tells you that we control the weather. The Bible tells you that too. The Bible tells you have an effect on the weather yourself. Because it says when you wicked and you go stop bending up in law, God's law, you start having bad weather. So in other words, God said, "Oh, they acting." So that's where you want. That's where you want to roll, right? That's where you want to break it down. Oh, well, see, they being wicked, so God's gonna give them bad weather. Or is it cause and effect? You have effect over the weather. You don't realize it. You're going to realize in a minute. This weather going to get dramatically worse as the pressure differential becomes dramatically worse. But we've been set by all kinds of problems, brothers and sisters. Right now, you're in the eye of the storm. You're in the eye of the storm right now, brothers and sisters. What does that mean? Hell is raging all around you, but you don't realize it. You're right in the eye of the storm. It's calm, and you think everything's good because they give you a swan song. Hey, we love you now. We're gonna give you reparations, right? Black Lives Matter, right? All this stuff. See, it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Lull you to sleep, but it says, let's deal truly with them. See, let's cut them off from being a nation. Remember, the name of Israel be remembered no more. You think that's talking about false Israel over there? No, sir. You brothers and sisters. Plague came right on time, like I told you. I warned you about it. Your boy, Mr. Farrakhan, he didn't tell you about it, but he's supposed to be the big minister. He's supposed to be the big prophet. He didn't see it coming. In fact, he took 7 months to speak on it because he wasn't sure what was going to happen. So it was kind of sticking in, was digging in. So he said, okay, it might be safe for me to go and comment on it after 7 months. They lied about the whole damn thing. See, I was with Elijah Muhammad. From 775, I was right there in Chicago. I know what he was saying and what he wasn't saying. I know Farrakhan's a big liar. So he tried to switch the script. So, oh, no, well, slavery started in 1555. He knows it's a damn lie. Elijah Muhammad never taught anything like that. He said slavery started in 1619. He said it took 64 years to prepare us for slavery. So he had to get out from under that. He said, oh, no, it really started in 1555. So that means 1955 should have been 1956 should have been the plague, and it didn't happen because he already called the Master Muhammad a liar. He's calling Elijah Muhammad a liar because he said we ain't going nowhere. And Elijah Muhammad said clearly, we have the tape. We ain't talking transcript. We have to take him talking. Say we'll be fools to stay here in the land of imprisonment. So our ancestors will rise up against us. Say, yeah, Farrakhan, we ain't going nowhere. Great point. Master Muhammad said his purpose coming here was to prepare us, right? To raise up Elijah, to prepare us to go home. To remind us of the covenant. That's the whole purpose of coming here. That's what he did. He reminds us of the covenant because we had forgot about it. It was taken away from us. We thought we was ham, born to be slaves. That's what it taught us 400 years. But they don't want their children to know about their history, but that's they fed us that 400 years. They fed us nothing but garbage. 400 years, lies, and we ham. We was cursed. How we got black? We got black because Noah cursed us because we was Shem was corrupt, right? And so his seed, Ham, was born cursed to be black and slaves forever. They told you. And that the hint of that is in the Abrahamic covenant. Because we know it's the only place they ever call him Abram is in the Abrahamic covenant. The Ham part is not there. Abraham. See? That part is not there. That part is not there. Why? Because we'd be separated during that 400 years while I was over here as slaves. And after that 400 years, we'd be united. He'd be Abraham. That's a little hint right there why I call him Abram. Because we'll be separated from them for 400 years. Over in a strange land that's not ours. Enslaved and oppressed, afflicted. 20 years. That nation will be judged. And that judgment came around time, 2020. Can't miss it. Lion Farrakhan, his so-called Savior's Day in February, he still wasn't talking about it. He didn't mention it at all, not one bit. Then he claims, oh, well, nobody knew about it until February. That's a lie right there. See? He's a lie. I mean, he's a demon. He's follows the devil. You're going to take my word for it, just Google it. His name is Percival Clark, and they got a picture of him. He's not even one of us. He's a son of perdition. Battle for the planet, brothers and sisters. But the point is, your God's on the scene. He's going to keep his promise. He knows you're in bad shape. He's not holding you accountable. See, Farrakhan telling you sinful and evil. No, you're not being held accountable because you was told to submit to Adam, and you did. So you can't be held accountable for what you did in your submission, obeying, submit. Because we was on submission. I mean, we did what we told us to do, and we did for almost for practical purposes. Right? But then he went beyond the limits. He was supposed to enslave us, not Holocaust, not abuse us, not rape us, not castrate us, and all the things they did beyond imagination. Well, if you got any kind of imagination at all, believe me, you can't even imagine those things they did. Because you go up beyond anything you could think of. Because there's no limits to the evil. That's called the bottomless pit. There's no bottom to it. And they twist everything. I mean, I don't blame them because they want to stay here. They want to survive. That's their nature. They didn't make themselves. We made them. They was given a chance. I mean, they served a purpose. I talk about that energy deprivation, but that's when our weak state. Because it takes energy to do anything. It's energy for everything. It takes energy to go to the bathroom. It takes energy to think. It takes energy to blink your eyes. When there's no energy, you're just dead. And simple calculation, brothers and sisters. All the energy out there, even if David tells you that, he tells you everything you start from a atom and exploded, right? The Big Bang. And then now expanded. Now all the energy is out there. Well, that's not our version. That's not the Quranic version. That's not the biblical version. It says the heavens and the earth were one. In other words, all the energy out there used to be the atmosphere of the earth. Earth was like a core of a superstar, the most mother of all stars. That's why you got all the elements that's known, that's possible in the earth. Because it takes superstars to build elements. And to build all the elements that they are, our sun's a small star. It only can produce helium, which is only 2 protons, very simple. The hydrogen is the simplest, it's only one proton. There's no fusion there. But the fusion effects takes place with hydrogen, helium, and that's very powerful. You need a lot of power to force them together, force 2 protons together. And if you want uranium, you need a star about 1,000 times bigger than the sun, maybe 10,000 times bigger. You got a sun star out there that makes the sun look like a peanut compared to elephant. Because those stars, that's why I call them our treasuries. Because that's what we do. We build the stars to create matter for us, right? So we can use to build plants and things with. We didn't manufacture on the planet. On Earth, we never did. You don't manufacture on your house. This is meant to be a garden. It's always the garden where Adam and Eve finds a garden. That's the story, but it's a little more complicated than that. We manufacture all plants. So you don't know it. You don't remember. You know it. You know any of this stuff. But a lot of information is right there. Read Melchizedek. Preachers don't tell you about that one. Who's Melchizedek? King of Peace. That's what they call him. Read it. Hebrews 7. King of Peace. But Jesus' name was what? Prince of Peace. So who's the King of Peace then? Says he had no beginning of days, no end of life. That means he's been here forever. He's always going to be here. That means he's here right now. He's always been here. What it says. And then it says, ooh, what does it say up there? He says he's like a man, or he looks like a man, he acts like a man, or he's impersonate a man. No, he says definitively, he's a man. They don't tell about Hebrews 7, do they? Oh, that's something wrong with that. No. See? But he created everything. So that means men did it. Men and women. They're the gods. See? But it's been slain. Because all the energy that used to be here is out there. So therefore you suffer energy deprivation. You ever think about your heart? Do your heart ever get tired? Does your heart ever get tired? If it got tired, you die. If it heart rests, it stop, right? You die. But it keeps going. Since they use consensus, it came to existence, it's been beating constantly. It may beat slower or higher, but it beats. It don't stop beating. Not because it stopped. They call it a heart attack. But it's a muscle, right? So how come your muscles get tired? Because you don't understand the way your creation. The point is that your muscles only get tired because you don't have enough energy to keep them activated like keep your heart do. So whereas your body departmentalizes energy. It departmentalizes. I said we're going through energy deprivation. We're not old, we're not aging. We're wilting like a plant wilts. It doesn't get enough nutrition. It's not like everything wilts. But as soon as you give it that, it comes back to like nothing ever happened before. We're wilting because all the energy that used to be out here is out there now. And it's coming back now, so now you're starting to gain your strength back again. But you're about to be getting big bursts in a minute. That's why we sleep. Don't have enough energy because we renew our energy every 24 hours. See? But you don't have enough energy to get through the whole 24 hours. So you have to calm down for 8 hours. But you don't have enough energy. So having your body departmentalized. So it's just the heart definitely have to have it. So it takes all the energy it takes to keep the heart going. Then the next, all the other different things. And when your organ, your skin is an organ, but it's the least critical organ. So it starts deteriorating first. So you start looking old and all that kind of stuff. It starts deteriorating first. Because it says, okay, it has a priority. Who needs the energy the most? But it's about to be reversed, brothers and sisters. You're about to be turned back to you, just like the Quran says. Like Elijah Muhammad tried to tell you, like I've been telling you. You're about to be, because you get a burst of energy every 50 years, approximately called a jubilee. You have your first burst, positive burst, because the universe is contracting now. You have the first positive burst back in the 1860s when you broke your physical chains. Start rising again. And then 50 years later, you start breaking your mental chains because you start thinking Afrocentric. See? And it corresponds to the music, because when the blues came, you had the blues. When they threw you out of the ditch, off the plantation, out of the ditch and everything, you had the blues. That was 1860. That's when blues came along. Check it. Don't take my word for it. Then you got jazzy 15 years later, right? When you start thinking Afrocentric, Nubra Ali, Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Master Muhammad. And then 50 years later, right? Now you got, right, what do you call it? A disco. You got, Black and I'm Proud. So you got Proud then to the Motown sound. And it was all love and unity until the demons got hold to it. Massive black-faced devils, the house Negroes, and now it's you bitch, you hoe, you whatever, Because that's them, that ain't us. That's them making fools of us. Look, that's what Africans don't like them either. Because they make all black people look bad. They on TV acting like a clown, stupid. Women doing jelly rolls, the butt big as the moon. They got the nose up in the woman's butt, all that kind of stuff. That's them, that ain't us. That's them with our face. And we're going to remedy that situation real quick. Because they were set out amongst, it says, enemy sowed the shaft amongst the wheat. It said, enemy did that on purpose. They said, okay, hold on, let them go together. We'll separate them out of harvest time. Then we're talking about the wolves and sheep clothing, same thing. That ain't us, that's them. And they're going to be separated from us in a minute. They've always been against us all the time. But now, somehow you don't even recognize it all because, hey, I mean, the whole thing is a scam. Because back when you was in chains, right? You know, they was the house Negroes. They was in the house. There was the preachers telling you, love master no matter what he does. No matter what he does. The more he beat you, the more you should love him. Because when you die, you're going to meet master in the sky. You know, you got the white Jesus and everything. You're going to meet him in the sky. He's going to whoop your ass because, you know, obey master. Where the hell you going, coming and going? See? And so they was against you. You had the preacher doing your head with that BS, that was master's child. They have the entertainers on the weekend, and try to keep you from running away and all that kind of stuff. Then they have spies. The master was constantly raping all the women. I mean, he has this thing where he has this thing where I forget what they call it, where he had the first right. I mean, that was the whole thing about that Braveheart movie, right? Because the nobles had the first right to sleep with the woman if he wanted to get married, right? That he had the first right to sleep with her, to take her virginity. And that's exactly what they was doing to our women. So they produced a whole race of demons, hybrids that look like us, ain't us, have a heart towards them. And not only us, they did all over the world. That's why you got confusion all over the world right now. Because China, right, they had harmony. Now they got confusion. I want to be American. I want to be a demon crap. I want to be all of that. See? I don't have to do with China, I don't want that stuff. Because they the Europeans and black and yellow skin. Or if you want to use yellow skin, I don't know why they use yellow because they the same complexion as the Europeans. Asians same thing too. I want to be American. Look at the India stuff. Africa, same thing. They only know what's going on with them, and we suffered the worst. Because that 50% of our black people in America, demons. They're the politicians. They don't do anything for you. They sell you out constantly every day, right? They're the entertainers, all waving the flag, telling you how you should love master, how you should love America. Forget about the past. Let's move on. Preachers, 24/7, tell you pray, all that stuff. Well, if they tell you want success and everything. Pray, and pray for money. Pray. Okay, well then why don't they pray? Why they ask you for money? Why don't they pray for it? And while you praying, why you wasting time? If your father's a billionaire, you gonna go ask for a quarter? Hey, daddy, give me a quarter. He's a billionaire. So if God's all this powerful, like you say, your idea of God, because that ain't our idea. Then why don't you ask for $1 billion? I want a car. Why don't you ask for control the whole damn plant? Stop the bullshit. So you thought if it worked, then why you ask for peanuts? You ask for $1 billion to cut to the chase, get it all out the way. So you know it's bull. Or I prayed for a car. Right? I prayed for a car and God gave me a car. Okay. It just pop up in your driveway? No, man. I had to go to the dealer. Wait a minute, I thought you said God gave you the car. So I got to go to the dealer and do the credit check and all that kind of stuff, make payments. It's all bullshit. But they got you going with it because a Negro butt that you train not to ask any questions. Don't ask any questions. My master tell you, go for it. Just like this thing about Jerusalem. It says when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, right? No, it's destruction. It didn't say it's redemption, right? Or it's stumbling or something is near. It said its destruction is near. That's what it says. When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, but they don't read that part. Because Jerusalem's capital what? Who controls Jerusalem? Is the Arabs controlling it? Is the capital of Iraq? Capital of Syria? No, it's the capital of false Israel. They control it. That means that when you see it surrounded by armies, they're going to be destroyed. But that goes against the whole idea of them being there. Because the whole idea of them being there, if they have come, when they return, they could not be destroyed. But they're telling you they're going to be destroyed. That tells you right there, but you don't read that part. No, you don't read that part. They don't tell you that part. That be telling right there, they're a lie. They're false. You didn't read that part. You know, And they blind you because they telling you about this that scriptures. Those you study on these Elijah Muhammad should know better. These scriptures are future. They're prophecy, not prophet past. But they're telling you it's past. That's how they're telling you, that's how they blind you, because that's your foresight. That's how you get foresight. Because if you study that, then you realize that's stuff going to happen. But they're telling you by hindsight, so therefore that's how they blind you. They can convince you that the rear view mirror is the front mirror, then that blinded you. Because now you run down the highway 100 miles an hour looking through the rear view mirror. How you not going to end up? Exodus is working out right now. There's nothing happened in the past. That's right before your face. Those you familiar with Elijah, right? What? Since God will come, he would teach you. He was raised up Elijah, right? He was teaching about 40-some years. Then he'd go away. Then you have lion Aaron that would go about 40-some years. It's not addition. He would trick the people. He lied to people. Try to turn the hearts back to Egypt. And then have worship golden calf. And then you get all of them killed. And then Joshua, with the same name as Jesus, it's just different between Hebrew and Greek. He would come and he would clean up the house and get rid of he would get rid of all of Aaron's people, Pharaoh's people, and then he takes you to the promised land. What is the promised land? It tells you what the promised land is. It says in Arabia, between the what's it called? What's that river? I've got the name of the river, right? Euphrates. And the Nile, basically, that's but who don't see? That's why it says it's the Bible of the planet, because the Arabs don't want you talking that language. That's why Pan Farrakhan tell you stop talking it, because they didn't see Abraham. True, I give them that, but they're Ishmael. The heritage will go to Isaac. Now they've made themselves white. They don't even look black like they used to look. See? I mean, you still got some of them dark over there. Saddam Hussein wasn't all that light. His hair wasn't all that straight either. See? But they, brothers and sisters, they were the son of Abraham through his maid. But Isaac was the son of Abraham through his wife Sarah, and he's the one that got the promise. He's the one that get the promise made. He's the one that gets the inheritance, even though he was the younger brother. And Ishmael was angry about that. Said, I'm the older brother, I should get it. But he wasn't the son that God blessed. He wasn't the son of Sarah, Abraham's wife. That's both story of Joseph. So they end up kicking us out of there and sold us into slavery. They betrayed us. I mean, there's a whole lot of examples there. Because like Prophet Muhammad, for instance, they say, you can't have a picture, and why? Why can't have a picture of Prophet Muhammad? What's wrong with that? I mean, he's not a god or anything. He was a god. Why can't you have a picture of him? Okay, so okay, to give you that. No picture. He's a prophet, no picture. But they said about not giving a description. I mean, all these people around him, he's this perfect person. He's a perfect person. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. Everybody has seen him. Right? And this is pre-photographic society where people draw sketches and write and remember things. You mean nobody wrote down a description of him nowhere? Well, he was tall, he was short, he was dark-skinned, he had nappy hair, straight hair. Nobody wrote that down. That's bullshit. That's why they want you to show a picture, because they don't want you to know the man was black. They don't want you to know that before they all got white over there. And they don't want you to ever come back, because when they throw us in slavery, we still about Joseph. They're expecting it. They want to kill us. There's one brother in the way where they don't kill him. He won't survive anyway. They betrayed us. Bow for the plan, because they want the best part of planet Earth. The lesson tell you that right there. The lesson tell you that we're going to return to the best part. The lesson that Elijah Muhammad got from Master Muhammad to return to the best part of planet Earth. Pharaoh said we ain't going nowhere. So who's the liar there? Who's the liar? He can keep on lying all he wants to. We got the proof on him. So we got to deal with the Arabs. See? But they in cahoots with false Israel. You think they're not, but they are. See, they like in a rock and hot, rock and a hard place because they know false Israel is not the true seed of Abraham. They know that, but they go along with it. See, because by going along with that, that means that locks us out. Because they don't want us to start thinking that we're true seed of Abraham. That's why they can't got the Farrakhan and paying them off. They're paying them off to stop that talk. So he said we ain't going nowhere. Even though he reads about Abraham but covenant, just read the top part. He don't read the part about we going back home. You don't read that part. I mean, we ain't going nowhere. Country belongs to us. It's just so much bullshit. I mean, you ask your question. Google him. He's worth over $7 million. But Nation of Islam is worth zero. It was the opposite with Elijah Muhammad. Because all the money was in Nation of Islam name. But Farrakhan, all the money is his name. Because he just put a death knell on the Nation of Islam. Because if he dies, which he's not going to die, because we're going to get a hold of him before he dies. But when he dies, if he dies, then that money go to his children. See, they was pissed off when Elijah Muhammad parted because they couldn't get that money. The family couldn't get that money because the money was in the Nation of Islam name. And Farrakhan had standing because he was top spokesman, but they backed him off. They put him in the corner, so he didn't say nothing. They went to court and got that money. He didn't challenge him because they told him to give him a piece. Then once they got what they wanted, they threw his ass in the ditch like a two-bit whore. He was with nothing. They ran away because the death angels look. I know you know these death angels are looking for his ass to get rid of because he was bad mouthing, messing, and everything else. He was destitute. He said himself, he was destitute. He tried to get back on the stage and shake his ass as a calypso dancer. He tried to do that. Imagine that. Messenger, the spokesman for the messenger of Allah on the stage, shaking his ass, calypso dancer. Imagine that. So how do you answer? Hey, Farrakhan. Hey, Louis Eugene Grimes, NOI backwards, Legion, that's who he is, right? And what you doing up there, man? I thought you was Elijah Muhammad's messenger. How you going to reply to that? How you going to reply to that? Oh, man, I wasn't down with that crap no way, man. I was going along with the program. I thought I'd get my piece. How you going to respond to that? Now tell me I'm lying. So we got the Arabs, battle for the plant. So they going along for Israel, claiming they know they're not. The neutralize our claim. The evidence is clear because what they said 50 million Arabs over there, something like that. Back when false Israel came online in the late 1940s, about 1948, right? And it was like about 1 million of them, maybe less. And the Arabs had armies and they moved the area, territory, and everything else. And they couldn't defeat them. And you think that's some kind of miracle? It's bullshit. They didn't want to defeat them. They had to pretend because the man in the street. They've been telling them you can't believe, you can't listen to false Israel. They've been telling them, but they in their heart they know, man, we can't. If we defeat them, man, then those niggas back there, man, they got. There's nobody to neutralize their claim. They don't want to get rid of those people over there. Now you say Abraham a covenant, Abraham accord. Which thing that's all about? I told you that would happen. But they're getting ready to go to war with Iran. There was a rock in a hard place. Then you got false Israel, right? The Europeans hated them for thousands of years. Hated them. And then they was burning them up in the 40s. Literally burning them up all over the world. Nobody cared for them. And America was more anti-Semitic than anybody. And really anti-Semitic. They're not Semites anyway. That's a bad term. They're not Semites. They're false. Like I said, those people that claim they're Jews and not, they're synagogue of Satan. But anyway, they was the worst here in America. When they tried to escape and come over to America, America turned them back in their boats. They didn't want them. They had this priest that he was like a Catholic priest. He was like, man, he was like fire and brimstone about them. They knew it was burning them up over there. I've been to Germany. All the concentration camps they was in, burned them up. The European armies never went anywhere near it. Never tried to bomb it. They was burning them up in those plants. The only thing, as far as they concerned, the only thing Whitcomb didn't do, right, is he didn't finish the job. And then all of a sudden, out of the night, nowhere, after 1,000 years of hating them and finally destroying them, the final solution, all of a sudden their ass was turned to honey pots and everybody's eating the honey. Why? Because Elijah Muhammad said, we true Abraham, we had the proof, we had documentation, we had the history, and they had to counter it. So they set false Israel up there to say to prove they're true to Abraham, and they spend trillions of dollars, right, keeping that myth going. Because it can't fail. Because if it fails, that means it redounds back to us. Then they got that problem again. Because they can't have us thinking that way. They can have their people thinking that way. Because their people start thinking that way, that means they ain't God's people. But the way they portray it, we Ham, who's born to be slaves, cursed black, born to be slaves. So therefore, they do anything with us brings over here because it was doing God's will. See? And then America's the promised land. See? Because they're spiritual Israel. So they ain't doing nothing about taking this country because God promised to them, and these people just riffraff. They was just savages, right? What do they call? What's the other word they use? What other word they use, right? They're just savages. See? So getting rid of them, just getting rid of riffraff. So they're doing God's will. But if we try to be true to Abraham, everything is turned on its head. Because that means there's genocidal maniacs, haters, oppressors, rapists, genocidal maniacs, you name it. They was destroying God's chosen people. So they can't have that. They can't have that. So they say, we can't have that narrative going. See? Because that's the way to see itself. That's why I want critical race theory to come up, because they got their own race theory. See? Who's born, so that's that idea teaching themselves, so they lift themselves up by that, right? And then vest up and say, see, we're good people, man. We're the best thing that happened to the planet. See, because look here, man, just our country, God gave it to us. We chosen people, see? He gave us the promised land, now we got all this and everything. And those Negroes, man, they were cursed, so enslaving them was God's will. And doing all the things we've done, right? We saved the world because they was all heathens. That's the word I was trying to think. Or heathens. But they didn't go and take any Caucasian land, did they? They're going to take any European land? They're taking any of their land? They're enslaving them? I mean, I have no problem with racism the way they define it. Because you're supposed to look out for your own people. I have no problem with that. But when you go and attack other people for their race, that's racism. They came against us like a hurricane. One day we were sitting there minding our business over there. The next thing we saw some sails come across over the ocean. Next thing we know was the Holocaust, 40 years. Unrelenting, no rest. 24/7. 365, 20 years, constant fear. They kept us in constant fear. Like I said, they made those Negro butts. They program us not to think, not to ask questions, self-destruct, do anything, whatever mass say, whatever. And then they produce their terror butts, which they're black-faced children from rape, to keep us terrorized, keep us divided, fighting against ourselves. Because it's like, you got a bunch of sheep, right? And then you got a whole herd of sheep. And now you got some wolves coming in sheep clothes. All of a sudden, you got all this panic going because you can't decide you see sheep dying, being ate up, and you don't know who's doing it. So you get afraid of everybody. You get afraid of all other sheep. You're like, man, some of these sheep are bad. There's bad sheep. See? Ain't no bad sheep. It's wolves, but they look like you, so yeah, man, some sheep are bad. That's why the demons tell you, man, well, yeah, it might be some bad white people, but there's some bad black people too. That's bullshit. The Bible tells you there's two types of people, there's a flesh and a spirit. If you understand the angel, we're the spirit and the other flesh. And they're whole different two attitudes. And you read about what it says about the flesh. Division, homosexuality, fornication, envy, murder, you name it. Isn't that the culture of America? Isn't that the culture of America? 100%. I asked somebody one time, I said, the Jesus you talk about, this flower child person, I said, if he came back today, where would he be more home at? He'd be more home in New York or in Saudi Arabia, Mecca. Because if he came to America teaching what he was talking about in New York, we're talking about what they say we're talking about in the Bible, he'd be a homophobe. He'd be divisive. See? He'd be in jail. It's a hypocritical country. They don't want you to know all that kind of stuff. It's very simple. Because they got this idea of themselves, this beautiful idea of themselves. Like the woe those who say good is evil and evil is good. They said false Israel to counter that. And then you got the situation where, like I said before, is if you're the fake, the last thing you want is the real to show up. Because if the real shows up, that means now everybody will see you're a fake. So you're gonna make sure the real never shows up. Now, you gotta have a backup plan because for some reason the real deal shows up, just in case that might happen. Because you make sure it don't happen, but it might, if just in case it does happen, then you gotta make sure that you gotta put something in place to make sure if it does show up, it's so marred, so messed up, right? That nobody's gonna believe it's the real thing anyway. Isn't that exactly what they're doing our image? The image of our people is pathetic all over the world. Africans don't want to be rivals because they're angry, because they make them look bad all over the world. You don't see any other nation doing that. They make us look bad all over the world. They're clowns, they're pimps, they're hoes, right? We everything you can think of, crackheads, murderers, everything you can think of, that's what we are. That ain't us doing that. That's them. False Israel, that's them doing it. Who controls Hollywood? That's what they got to make your image so marred that when you do show up, say, man, them niggas, man, you kidding me? That's the roots. Them God's chosen people. Them ignorant, dumbass people, crackheads, dope dealers, pimps. You know what I'm saying? It ain't us. But we take the hit for the image. It ain't us. But we're going to clean it up. That's why I said the message of the covenant, get on full scope. We're going to clean that up in a minute. That's prioritize his people. They can prove, see, I got demon radar. I know them. DBS, whatever you want to call it. That's been Suleiman. First, read Mark. First thing he did, he go out and get rid of them demons. Separate them demons out. Harvest time. Separate demons out from the chaff. Chaff from the wheat. Goats from the lambs. So we're going to deal with them. That's what they were set for. That's what we were set up for. And that's why the big blast is going to take place, because what happens? Because remember, the whole idea, remember, it's Jerusalem, surrounded by armies. I just talked about it a few minutes ago. It's the whole covenant says once they plant it back, once they return, they will never be uprooted. But that's the abomination desolation. It says when you see abomination desolation stand in a place where it should not be, that's them. They over there, they shouldn't be there. They claim to be there, they're false. They're guilty of identity theft. And they're getting rich off our identity, just like the false, just like the Arabs getting rich off our identity, because they got land, they got our culture, they got language, they got all of it. And now they're getting rich off our resources over there. So, if they're taken down, that's it, when they're taking Jerusalem from our army, they're taken down, that means that can't happen. That's an abomination, that can't happen. It does happen. Everything shockwaves through the world. Shockwaves through the world. Because then again, that means we must be a true seed of Abraham. They're going to be taken down because the war is going to take place over there any day now. And break out. Because they got plans with mass problem. He's had to preempt their plans because they plan for total destruction. They plan on getting rid of the whole biological creation. Bringing in cyborg creation. You don't understand, I talked about it previously. It says if those days were not shortened, no soul would be left alive. What does that mean? That's not a conventional war. That's a nuclear war. When it said those days had to be shortened, I mean somebody had to intervene and stop it before it happened. That's their planning. Why do you think they're putting this thing with Russia? Why are they playing games with Russia? Russian nuclear power destroyed them overnight. They cannot win a war with Russia. They cannot even win a war with North Korea. If they go nuclear, they cannot win it. You say, oh, they nuclear. It's like, I got a shotgun to your head, and you got a 45 to my head. I'm talking about, man, I got 2 barrels here, man. I got a big old shotgun on your head. Even maybe a machine gun. You know, yeah, but I got a 45 on your head, right? And I'm talking about how tough and bad I am. You know how stupid that is? Because it doesn't matter. Because both of us pull the trigger, both our heads are blown off. So your gun is bigger than mine, so what? So it'll be a bigger splash? North Korea has enough missiles to destroy America, destroy all the major cities, and to put whole the electronic matrix out of commission. You ever heard of electromagnetic pulse? They just take one nuclear bomb, maybe a mile, to be explode a mile above Earth's atmosphere, and they can do that. North Korea could do that anytime. So yeah, they'd be gone, but America be gone too. Russia be gone, but America be gone too. So why are they doing that? That's another story for another time. I already talked about it previously. You understand what's going on? So you're in the eye of the storm right now. Hell's all raging around you. See? But the whole storm, the first storm, is a closing on you. And because it has a closing on you, yet you think, all right, man, it's calm here. That storm is closing on you. That storm is closing on you. It's coming fast. Because that's the whole thing. The battle for the planet. They try to steal your inheritance. They're trying to steal your creation that you spent 76 trillion years building. They're trying to steal it from you. It's not going to happen. Master Muhammad's not going to let it happen. And Suleiman is not going to have it happen either. Because we're their consequence. There's no story together. You can't destroy consequence. We are the personification of the consequences of their deeds for over 500 years. They, in a way, they produced us. Because if they hadn't done what things did, we wouldn't be here. I know you understand that. So now you got flaws of Israel. You got America. Well, what's America's deal? We already know what they've been doing to us. See? I'm going to cut this in a minute, but I got to say a couple things. I'm just asking questions. Let me ask some questions here. If you into the idea that Adam was made 6,000 years ago, or Adam and Eve came into existence 6,000 years ago, or however you come to that conclusion, right? Well, for the last 5,500 years, it was all horse and buggy, chariots, swords. 5,500 years. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, they drag us over here. And suddenly you got this big explosion. Technology. Never had anything like that before. And why is it just here? Why didn't it go all over the world? And the Europeans are so wise and so powerful and the superior beings and all that kind of stuff, right? Then how come Russia's almost all white there? Germany's almost all white there. How come the technology didn't take root there? Why didn't it take root there? Why is it still not going on there? All the technology, all this stuff's coming out of America. Why? All of it. Electricity, nuclear fusion, right? Atomic energy, computers, internet, you name it. It's coming out. All innovation in the world is coming out of here. Not in China. It's not in Germany. All they're doing is replicating what they get out of here. So why is it just America? Why is it just America? Yeah, just ask yourself that question. After 5,000 years, and once they bring it away, they got all this innovation. See, that's a question you need to answer yourself. See? I'll give you a little hint. When you read Exodus, the gold and silver, we're the gold and silver. Because it says, once we took the gold and silver, that plundered, and Egypt was plundered. You go back to the horse and buggy. I'm not going to elaborate more on that. Because I've talked about it quite a bit in previous presentations. These are things right there, right in front of your eyes, brothers, in plain sight. You have to ask yourself these questions. You got another explanation? Because Europe is rich now, but there's still innovation still not coming out of there. Show me some innovations coming out of there. You know that? How many innovations come out of Europe? They duplicate what they get from here. How many innovations came out of China? They duplicate what they get from here. Not Korea. Duplicate what they get from here. How about India? Just here. And we're here. They ain't gonna let you know that. That's part of the reason why they're big the demons, because they couldn't communicate with us. They had people that was half basically. They could communicate both sides, pass information on. So they're trying to take control of the planet too, because you got the false Israel stole our identity theft. You got the Arabs, they stole out, as soon as they stole out land. As soon as they stole out land, America, they stole our creativity, everything else from us, left us for dead. That covers about everybody except China, India. And what about them? How did China get rich? China was a basket case 50 years ago. How did they get rich? How did they get powerful? Because all the jobs that they took from you and sent over there and built prison, sent your ass into prison. Built prison for you and put your ass into prison, and they sent all the jobs over there and made bad. Detroit was like a black mecca for technology here in America. They shut that down. Now it's a basket case, but China's powerful. China's the main adversary we got in the world today. Man, they the ones we got to worry about the most. They so powerful. Who made them powerful? You did, because you the ones have nothing. What about India? Look at how they become technologically powerful. Because you sell all the technical jobs over there, and now you bring them over here. Because back in the 70s, you couldn't even find them. Back in the 70s, right? You'd be easier to find a gorilla run up and down New York than you would a person from India. You'd be more likely to find a gorilla. That's how rare they were. See, I must mention a couple of other things that you don't know about. See, I'll talk about these. I'm talking about it again today. They got a thing called SIC codes, Standard Industrial Codes. Check it out. You got one if you've been working someplace in America, right? Because that's how they track you demographically, right? That's one of the ways, see? Because it relates to the industry you're working in. So what happens is that every time a new industries come on the horizon, they start looking and they set up a SIC code for it, and they start looking for people that's most qualified for that so they can train them so they can be ready for the industry, jump right in as soon as the industry establishes itself. That's what that's all about. But back in the 70s, right, the computers wasn't a household name. I mean, computers mostly by the military that had them. Right? IBM had a few, but the point is they really hadn't taken off in the public sector, right? And so they found out, because they say they had to do a study to find who was best qualified, right, for that particular industry, so they could prepare for it. And what were the whole facts? We talk about facts here, not bullshit. Facts. They found that black people was most best qualified to be programmers. That's what they found out. They said people that was mostly mathematically inclined and musically inclined, because music is about all mathematics. See, you don't understand it. Music all about music is mathematics. And now say black folks. So what happened is Carter was the president at the time, so he started a program, right, with the Urban League. Because I went to the program. I'm not talking about something I heard. No conspiracy theory. I went to the program. It was after Elijah Muhammad departed in 1975. And I went to that program like in 1977, I think. But they recruited me. And they said what happened is that they had IBM, they would supply the equipment and the instructors. Urban League was supplied the facilities, right? And the administration is part of it. And they're recruiting to go out and find people to come in and they would pay you. It was a 3-month course. And if you came out the top 10%, then you was guaranteed a job by the local industry. Because they had an agreement with them, they would take the top 10% of that class. That was the nature of the program, the bottom line of it. So I came out first in my class because we were named like Raheem. I knew it was around for issues, right? And they still didn't want taking me. So I ended up with Montgomery Ward. And they was like the forefront of computers at that time because they was really mechanized, automated. Sears came along later. Everybody there started picking up. And then what happened? When Reagan came in, he just smelled that program. And then he came with this movie called I'm Alive, Number 5. I mean, some of you, I know most of you don't remember that movie. You look it up. I'm Alive, Number 5. This is the game they play. See? So they had an Indian guy. Nobody probably ever seen him. Of course, you saw him in the movies. You didn't see him out here in America. And he built this computer that he made come alive. So that made him a supercomputer programmer, man. These guys are super. They set the stage. This ain't no man. Everywhere you look was Indians in America. You go to North New Jersey, right? And man, someplace I forgot the name of city. You might be once been in India, because now they got all the jobs that they don't want you to have, and you best qualify for it. But they got jails for you. Better do what they tell you to do. Terror butts, they watching you. They ain't telling you that part. But India becoming technologically powerful because they give it to you. They give it to them. Same thing in China. They send all the jobs over there. Now they're powerful. They rised up, and they're going to take down America in a few more days. That's that goat and Daniel. There's no straw together. So all the nations are against you, and they want to maintain status quo. China wants to maintain status quo. They don't give a damn about you. India wants to maintain status quo. They don't care about you. They know they're taking your jobs and stuff. I mean, they got their own damn country. So they come over and take your jobs and then tell you, man, I'm going to tell you what's what. You know, when I was in Tampa, right, I used to work at this place called GTEDS. It's Verizon's now. And that's a long story. They didn't want me up in there. But I was a gunslinger. I knew my stuff so well, right, that they needed somebody to call me. But they didn't want me to stick around. They wanted to probably want me to stick around. But see, they didn't like me. I had a chip on my shoulder. I ain't put up no shit with the white folks. I wasn't playing that game. I wasn't talking the game. So I put up with George Washington. I said, what are you talking about, that creep? The person that is the pedophile, the rapist. Oh man, what are you doing about that? Why you bring it up? I'm not gonna buy your bullshit. I know who he was. So I wouldn't be there. But now you go over there now, and it's totally, you can't get in there unless you're Indian. So it's Verizon's now. Same thing when I was working in Tallahassee, same thing. They bring them over, they wouldn't even, and you understand, they get free education over there all the way up to a PhD. Here you got to pay, because what they making black folks pay for education now is pathetic. Because when I was back before the so-called civil rights, you didn't go that much to go to college. And even here private, the public, what they call it, the public colleges or whatever. And then once you're supposed to, now all of a sudden, man, you got to pay almost life savings to get in there. And you're not going to get a good degree. If you get, and degrees they're giving students too, you can't even use. And then you might not get a job when you come out. They do it on purpose. And then here you are, right? Now you may be qualified to get a PhD, but you can't afford no more than an associate or maybe even a bachelor. Now you up against an Indian that comes over here with a master's degree he had to pay for. He had to pay for. So who are they going to hire? You or them? That's even affecting the white folks too. When they get you on that, they're going to do something about it when they catch up to it. See? Everybody's against you, brothers and sisters. Battle for the planet. Battle for the planet. And I'm just telling you, I'm just giving you the icing. I mean, you want to get into the cake? They're going for a war because they're all at war. The Europeans are at war with the climate. They're at war with the climate. They're at war with the biological system. And they realize they cannot live in peace with it. It's destroying them. So it's either them or the environment. That's why they're trying to come up with these cyborgs and they're trying to come up with cyborgs. I mean, Biden tipped his hand a while back ago. He says now they say they made a mechanical hand that can actually feel. He's got it. I didn't know he got that far. See? That's what he said. They can actually feel. See? Cyborg, what's a cyborg? It's a mechanical body that has a biological brain. And they know, you see, this biological system of them. That's why I tell you, global warming, that kind of stuff. They ain't doing anything about it, are they? Because they're doing those manufactured stuff. That's not, we did it off planet, but we never did that stuff here. That's why they didn't find it here. So they're destroying the plant. They're including the plant. The plant was not made to be an industrial complex. It's made to be a garden. Quran tells you that. We did everything off plant, but you don't understand that. See? They were tearing the plant apart. And that's where it says they're corrupting the earth. It says the Quran says the earth is, has to relieve itself of its burden. It's that God was destroying the earth. They're destroying our environment. They're destroying the biological system. And they realize that they cannot do anything about it at this point. They say it's either them or the environment. And so they decided to get rid of it. That's why they flirting with war. See? And have this cyborg system. I'm not going into detail. I already just go look at my previous presentation the last couple of weeks. I talked about that in detail. Let me close out, brother. See if I got a couple more things. Okay, I want to mention just a couple things real quick. It says when they mention peace and third, see, before this war takes place, this sort of structure says they will say, when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction come up on it. What does that mean? Two ways you look at that, brothers and sisters. That means they make an agreement that they think is going to give them peace and safety. It causes destruction instantly. Or it means that they're in a situation where they, please, let's have some peace and safety. But they're under a gun. Anyway, that's what's going to happen. It's going to happen any day now. Some people say it's already happened. That so-called Abrahamic Accord. Then you got Lion Farrakhan saying he's going to bring us to the tribulation period. You don't even know what it means. He thinks that's apocalypse. No, apocalypse started already. Tribulation period is a 1-year period that's going to take place, right? Once America's destroyed in the Middle East, kicked out of the Middle East, then it's going to kick off tribulation period. Once our people arise, and that's going to last about a year. But he's going to bring us all through it. We ain't going nowhere. He's going to bring us through it. Really? The man can't even walk. He barely can talk. He's got 3 feet in the grave. 3. I remember I said. It's bad. How did he get so rich? How did he get so rich? And Nation Islam has nothing, 0. All went to him, but he's been begging for money for the nation for some years. So where's the economic program that he's been begging money for? He's enriched himself, but Nation Islam has 0. How much is worth? It says 0. Google it. He's worth $7 million. So when he dies, well, he's not going to die like that, like he thinks, right? All that money going to his children, and that's the end of the so-called his Nation of Islam. They have nothing to pay the bills, anything. They can't get at that money. That's not what Elijah Muhammad did. Elijah Muhammad had all the money in the Nation of Islam name, and that pissed them off because they couldn't get at it. That's the end of it. If you don't get it, that's the end of it. There's nobody to challenge you because he don't have no spokesman. That was a mistake with Elijah Muhammad. They claim he made because he had Farrakhan spokesman. He had standing. You don't have a spokesman. All of them, they're 2 student ministers. You don't see the game. So how you going to support him? And you're going to tell us about come out some economic program after he's exposed, they've ripped off everybody, his family's going to disappear with all that money? He's going to bring us through it, all right. And then you got the climate going against them. And then you got crime out of control. Don't you understand what's going on, brothers and sisters? Don't you understand smoke and fire? America in flames. And you're right in the middle of the hurricane, you're in the eyes, you think everything's calm. Everything's been torn up around you. Everything's failing for these people. And now after all this hell you went through 40 years of Holocaust, and now their judgment has come, and you'll be stupid enough to go down with them? When you got a promised land, milk and honey, a future, unending future, unlimited future, and you're going to be foolish enough to go down with these fools? But they're going down. Ain't no doubt about it. Is that what you're going? That's how you put it. They fooling a lot of you. This American dream. Dream is not real, are they? See? Crime's getting worse. All this is getting worse. Nothing has been positive for this country since 1920. Actually, before that, one thing has gotten positive, one thing has gotten better. It's getting worse every day. So they've been eating each other before the year's out. Before this year's out, got me on record. I don't delete my archives. Everything I said is coming to pass. But before this year's out, they've been eating themselves. I think that's it, brothers and sisters. You got those fools running around with mess with the black man. Come on. I mess with the black man. Okay, you hold on to that. I think that's the last revelation. Hold on to it. Got something for you too. Because you're going to be blamed for all those people that are lost because of lack of knowledge. You're going to take the hit for that one. You're going to take the hit for that one. I want to mention one more thing, brothers and sisters. I want to mention two more things. I want to talk about the bread serpent. You need to read that carefully. But you understand Daniel for that one. You understand the book of Daniel for that one. But you got this statue. It's gold, silver, brass, and iron. Say, why like that? Why that order? Because brass is a fool's gold, and iron is a fool's silver. As you polish them up, you can fool somebody. Let me tell you. And when you break it down, I'm not going into details, but the brass represents false Israel. They pretend to be us. Because remember, Daniel is connected to Revelation. Both are sealed. And you know the connection because Daniel has 12 chapters. But the 13th chapter, remember Daniel has 12 chapters, but the 13th chapter of Revelations is a Daniel chapter because it speaks about the beasts that are in Daniel that are no place else in Revelations. So they're connected. If you don't know how the connection is, maybe they are connected. The brass represents false Israel. And the serpents represents the Europeans because it says our people is being bitten by serpents. Talking about the Christian blacks, that's what we're talking about. They're called demons. And they was bitten by serpents. And they didn't know what to do. So they called on Moses, says, what we're going to do? Because they wouldn't listen to Moses, but they called him on this one, right? So what he did was he set a serpent on a stick, a brass serpent on a stick. All I had to do was look up at it, and the other serpents wouldn't, the little baby serpents wouldn't bother them anymore. And you understand what that means right there. Because the serpent on the stick, that's the cross. That's the European false Israel on the cross. That's the cross. See? But that Jesus wasn't on the cross like that. He wasn't white. See? That's what it is. False Israel on the cross. That's the cross you got, your Christian cross. And you got all these white folks attacking the black people, they attacking black people, any black. If you're black, then you're on attack. And so the demons, right, they're the black-faced Caucasians, right? They're scared, they're in fear, right? So all you gotta do is look up and worship, look up at it, and observe my body. And so you gotta say, I'm Christian, see? That's why a lot of them in fear. I'm Christian because they're afraid of these white people. They think that's going to protect them. I'm Christian. That's just all about, brothers and sisters. I want to say one more thing. Let's get a little scientific for the scientific brothers and sisters. I said we manufacture our planet. And we write history every 25,000 years for the future. We don't write past history because the best scripture was the history. Right? So we write history every 25,000 years. I'm not going into the details to cover a 25,000 year period. That's called prophecy. That they're blind you telling you that, no, that's the past history. No, it's not. It's future. So how do we do that? See, you can't do that by some visions because you wouldn't trust the vision. How do you know children? I mean, the vision will give you some details like dates and times and names and things like that there. Remember, when this book was written 16,000 years ago, there wasn't no such thing as English. There wasn't anything like Caucasians. There wasn't anything like America. So how, with that kind of detail, and you get that in the vision? But the book of Revelation was written in such a way that was written to be revealed in English. So that's why it has all these little names like demon and things like that that tells you exactly what it means. Like sister said, Jewish. Okay. So how do you do that? What does that mean? How do we do that? Because we have supercomputers that their supercomputers wouldn't even come up to like an abacus. Wouldn't come like marbles adding one, counting your fingers. Their computers are like counting fingers compared to what we have. But we need that for two reasons. To navigate the universe, we need it. Because when you look out there, the stars, the constellation, galaxies, they're not where they are right now. Because it took light millions of years to get here. So that means they're someplace else. But you see out there, you look back in the future, look back in the past, rather. So to navigate, we're not limited to be a light like they talked about. If that was the case, the Quran says God is wise and earth. That means if only speed of light, we couldn't get out there. It wouldn't be a God if we couldn't get out there. We can get out there very quick. We got it very quick. In days, hours, close to star, we get there in hours. Some say even faster. We're going to limit how fast those computers work. So the point, these computers have to know every atom in the universe, know where everything is at all times. Have to calculate where everyone is and what it's doing. Have to know all of the physics, completely 100%. There can't be no doubt in it. Can't be one doubt out of place or anything. We need to navigate the universe because you can't hit anything. That's why we have galaxies and all that kind of thing. Because we have to have flight paths. We don't hit anything. That's why Europeans tell you, their scientists, their blind tell you, they don't know why the universe has these constellations and galaxies. They think it should be a big gas, based on their Big Bang theory. No, we build like that. We have lanes to travel through. You have the stars would come, so then we have the space lanes. But the same technology also will allow you to predict the future, by definition, right? Same technology. We do it 25,000 years at a time because it takes a lot of computer power to do it. So we do exception, 50,000 years, but the norm is 25,000. I mean, the really exception is 50,000 years. The norm is 25,000 years at a time. This is the problem. Because the Quran says they are strong gods, so they can't get out there. That's why we put everything off planets. They can't get to it. And we do all our manufacturing, everything's on planet. They couldn't get to it. It's not even in the solar system. So, because they might get to the solar system, that'd be hard for them. They definitely can't get out of the solar system in a meaningful way, in any timely way. So the problem is, I just want to throw this at these scientific brothers, these sisters, that to have such a computer, you'd have to have from the beginning when the universe was very simple. It was like I said, the Big Bang, when the heavens was the atmosphere of the Earth was the center of a superstar. You have to start from there. Then calculate from there every 25,000 years because it's more complicated. But see, the thing is that when you do say you in 25,000 years, it's your third iteration. So you've done it. The first 25,000 years the universe started, right? Then 25,000 years later, right? Then 25,000, the third one. Well, you have to start from where the second one left off. Otherwise, you always go back to the beginning again. That means you got all that power. You got to catch up, all time to catch up. So now if you wait for a billion years in the future, you can't always keep going back because it will take you billions of years to calculate to get back to that point. You always have to start from the last 25,000 years. So you have to keep that memory right there. And then you start from that point because you know where everything is at that point and you start from that point. You understand what I'm saying? So why is he saying this stuff? Because first of all, even if they somehow was able to make a computer like that, but they couldn't, it would never be useful for them because they would have to go back and start calculating 76 trillion years ago when the universe was very simple. And so it would take them billions and billions, probably trillions of years to calculate up to this point. So they're going to wait 70 trillion years for the computer to be useful? And during that time, they'd be 76 trillion years back in the more in the future. They would never catch up. So it'd be useless for them. Be useless for them. I'm just trying to get an idea of the kind of technology we have, that we know what the hell we're talking about. We ain't just pulling crap out of our asses here. Calling it honey, like Farrakhan and doing. They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't understand the lesson that Master Muhammad gave them. I'm just telling you, get a hint of the type of technology we have. We're not playing around. When they look out in space out there, they're looking billions of years in the future. If they get so powerful, they might see us out there billions of years ago, flying around. They already said they find things out there moving fast, speed of light, don't know what they are. They already said that. They said, remember, that speed of light is fast you can go. Now they say they find things out there moving fast, the speed of light, but they don't know what they are. That's going to give you a hint of what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. The world is yours. The future is yours. You're time travelers. You create your future. The future you are right now is the future you created, but they have you working against your own future. They got you following their so-called vision. A nation without vision perishes. They got you following vision. So you're creating their vision, which is against your vision, so you're going backwards. You can't understand why things are bad for you. Because you're building their house, not yours. And the house they building has no room for you in it. You don't understand that, brothers and sisters. It's a battle for the planet, battle for the universe. And they're trying to take your inheritance from you because you said 76 trillion years building all this. And now it's time for you to sit back and enjoy it. And they try to rip it out from under you. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I'm going to leave it there. Let me talk to my audience here. Oh. Thank you for listening, audience. This is Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Thanks for listening. Fire Zone out. And to my video audience, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Closing out. Remember, Holocaust. Don't let them forget it. Don't let anybody forget it. Don't let them call it the slavery. Holocaust. Thanks for listening, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.